Hello and welcome back to another week of Two Sheep in a Pool. My name's James.
My name's Ben.
How have you been?
I've been alright.
Good?
Actually, I've not been the best. I've been, you know when you feel like you're getting ill?
Right.
It's just not broken for the past 6 days.
Oh.
My throat's just been like, it's just not gone anywhere there.
That is rough.
I'd almost rather just get ill.
Yeah, but your profession is singing. So
Yeah,
it's not like you can sing while proper...
Yeah. But I'd rather just it breaks and then you can get it out of the way.
True. Better to break like midweek.
Yeah.
Comes Thursday.
Now would be perfect.
Yeah, now would be perfect.
If I get ill now, just after we finish the podcast, a few days to recover, all will be good.
Do you think this is from lack of sleep or from like looking after the dog? Yeah.
I think my body's a bit shit with, if it doesn't, it's fine if I get little amounts of sleep, but if I'm in a routine of it.
Right.
I think if something new gets thrown at me, I'm just like, I don't know what to do.
Maybe, Ben, maybe you're just allergic to your dog.
No, I'm not. Because I'm allergic to cats and I know how that feels.
Okay.
Because I was worried about that.
Yeah.
Because when we went to visit the puppies, when we waiting to pick her up, I'd started panicking because after a couple of times I was like, oh no, I'm feeling allergic to stuff.
Right.
But then I realised they have cats as well.
Oh, okay.
And I was just focused on the dogs. That was all I could think about. And then
yeah.
realised, oh no, I'm not allergic to dogs.
Got cats as well. Wow.
It's cats.
Lucky, unlucky you.
Lucky, unlucky me.
Yeah. Did we get any feedback from Gina about my ever long rant about
the
Instagram?
And I've got a confession to make. I don't know if you've noticed this. You've not mentioned it, so you probably haven't. The episode's not up yet.
Is it not?
No. I've almost...
Oh, shit.
I edited like 90% of it, and then in my head, I'd done it.
You'd done it.
And then I realised yesterday, when I was prepping for this today, I was like, oh shit.
Oh, shit.
We've not actually put it up yet.
Okay, well, I checked our stats yesterday. I was like, oh, they're not. There's not been like a normal big spike. I didn't even notice.
That's because there's no episode.
There's no episode's gone up. All right, well. I think we have to get a new editor here, Ben.
Yes.
This is unacceptable. I do care because it's nice to get it up. I don't care that you've not done it. I'm not your boss. You do a lot of extra work for this podcast that I don't do, so I have literally no complaints about it whatsoever.
It's just been not to blame the dogs eating my homework type thing. It's just been every time I've got like little snippets of time. Yeah. There's always been something else I've needed to do. Mm-hmm. I find it very hard to edit in a big chunk at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you have a baby in the house.
I know. She's getting better though.
Yeah.
Like this, I don't think it's going to really be an issue again because she can finally be left on her own for periods of time now. Mm-hmm. Whereas for the first week and a half, she'd just cry and cry. And then we'd have to panic because, oh no, she's going to wee everywhere. Right. But she's getting better at that.
That's good. You don't want to, especially with like a young dog, be around them all the time because then they get like separation anxiety. Yeah, and you don't want to have like one of my ex-girlfriend's dog was like so attached to her mum, and that whenever her mum would leave the house, the dog would just like sit at the window looking out until she came home. Right. And basically her mum was home most of the time. She had like a job, I think in the morning, but basically part-time, but was there most of the time. Yeah. And then just never left him alone. And then when just he was... Yeah. Oh,
that's what we're trying to hit that balance now of intentionally leaving her like that. So that doesn't happen. But like I said, for the first bit, we just couldn't leave her because we knew that we didn't want her to hurt herself or damage something. Or... Yeah.
She's getting bigger and bigger.
Did you notice a difference this time?
Not really. Like, she's a little bit bigger. Yeah. I saw her on Gina's Instagram. Her actual Instagram. Where she like did here was like 4, 6, 8, 10, whatever it was, like all the weeks up. And she's like obviously grown massively. Yeah. So it's really interesting to see that.
I'm worried, not super worried, because I mean, you've just seen her and it's not like a visible thing. Because she's not got all of the shots, we can't exercise her outside properly. Right. So we're only confined to the garden and downstairs of this house. Yeah. And I'm worried about, because we're giving her treats, obviously, to like reinforce good behaviour, etc. I'm worried that she's getting a little chunky.
No, that's just puppy. That's literally
puppy fat. Yeah. I was looking at her yesterday. She was just lying at this like weird angle, and I was like, "You got a double chin. Am I like overfeeding you?"
Yeah, I think once she's out of puppy stage, you'll be able to tell, and you'll go to the vets, and the vets will be like, "Oh yeah, she's overweight," or whatever. So I wouldn't worry too much about it.
I'm not too worried because as soon as we can actually take her outside, she'll just be able to get exercise properly.
Nice. Have you got any complaints for the week?
I've not had a complaint. I don't know whether this is to go in news or will I recommend. So I'll save it till the end of news.
Okay.
then let you go first. Have you got anything, complaints, etc.?
Not really.
Well, I've got one if you want me to go. It's basically that I'm not as rich as I want to be. I played someone, it was a 40th birthday, and you never know where you're going to turn up to at these things, because it could be anything. And I turned up in the middle of this like countryside road, pulled around the corner, and I can't call it a mansion, but it was like a sprawling modern cottage.
Right.
It was probably like a 12-bed house.
Right.
With this garden that they'd set, I say garden, grounds that they'd set up, everything. It just made me very jealous.
Yes.
It was just incredible. And I managed to deduce what his job was.
Go on.
That he owns a company that give mortgages.
Oh, so like a bank.
Yeah, I guess.
Or is it like, hey, we'll loan you some money. You pay us every month or we kill you.
Because I didn't want to just ask him, what's your job? But the DJ had worked for his family before. So that's all the information I got from him. But I got blocked in. I had to do that thing at the end of the night over the mic with can the owner of
Did you?
I legit had to, because I was completely blocked in. But I was blocked in by a Maserati and 2 Range Rovers.
Wow.
And I was very nervous reversing out of there.
Can the owner of the Bugatti Veyron please move to your car or I will smash it?
It was so unsettling though, because everyone was kind of pissed and I just wanted to get home.
Yeah.
And there was all these like very expensive cars. So I made the announcement and nothing happened.
Ooh.
But then I realised that they just moved it. They just didn't come and say anything.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, okay.
Sound. Did you charge more for the wedding then, knowing that they were rich?
No.
Oh.
I wish I had.
Yes.
It was the kind of thing that I could very easily. You never should do that.
No.
But I wish I had.
You go down the form and then they're like looking at the itemized receipt and the bottom it just says rich tax. And it's like 20% extra.
They were like legit. They were really nice, but it's the kind of people that you could easily have gone like, oh yeah, it'll be $5,000.
Yeah.
And they'd have been like, oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah. You just don't mention the money at all. Just come up and just send a blank check. Kind of stuff. Yeah. It reminds me. I was talking to my friend Thomas, who works for BMW, and he went on a course. I think Range Rover and BMW are owned by like the same people.
Yeah.
And they would go in there, and it said that like if you're talking to the kind of clients that want to buy not Range Rover, Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
Rolls Royce. That are going to buy a Rolls Royce. You just don't mention the cost at all.
Right.
You just mention this thing, like, oh, if you want tinted, you could get tinted windows. And you wouldn't say it would cost this much more.
Yeah.
Because in their world, they either want it or they don't.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how much it costs.
Right. It's not like in our world where we have to weigh up.
Yeah. Do I want air conditioning or not?
Yeah.
Do I want a car that has a radio?
Well, here's something else for perception of money. One of the bars that I play in is quite a nice bar, and you get like a clientele that's generally quite loaded. And there's a guy that I've not really spoken to before, but whenever he comes in, he always tries to buy me a drink.
Right.
And most of the time I'm driving, so I have to say I can't. But I always think, he must be fairly well off to just buy, because I see him buying people drinks a lot.
Right.
So in my head, that's that must be a mark of richness.
Okay.
So I found out that this guy the other day, there's a homeless guy on the street that bar's on.
Right.
That guy just bought that guy a flat.
What?
He just bought a flat outright for this homeless guy.
Oh. What the hell?
And that changed my whole perception of how rich. Because there was me going, oh yeah, he buys a few drinks for people. He bought a flat for someone. I want a flat bought for me. Imagine though, okay? You must be very rich if you can just buy yourself a flat outright.
Yeah.
To buy someone else that you don't know a flat outright.
Yeah.
That's like a whole new level of rich.
Gosh. He must have spent some... Or maybe he didn't, but if that was me, I'd have spent some serious time talking to this homeless guy, because from working at Tesco, we have a lot of homeless people that sit outside the shop, and the wide range of people that they're like really from the I'm drug addicted, I'm getting all this money just to feed my addiction, versus those people that I've just kind of had a difficult life and had no one to fall back onto. And that kind of stuff. Gosh, I'm not sure I would have spent that amount of money on a homeless person, but maybe that's who I am.
I mean, what a nice thing for him to do, but that must...
Or stupid.
Who knows? But
it can be both.
But, yeah, it's either a really, really grand gesture from him that he'd heard a story maybe and it meant a lot to him.
Yeah.
Or he's got so much money that means nothing to him.
Yeah. Maybe he does that every week.
Maybe he
do you
does.
know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Well, you think about it. Like, football players could do that.
Yeah.
Like, football players are earning like 250 grand a week.
Yep.
And stuff like that. So if they could go every week and buy a homeless person a house.
Yep.
And it would affect them, and then they have no money.
They'd still be richer than us.
Yeah. They'd still be super rich.
Yeah.
It's
crazy, isn't it?
Yes. But then, like, I feel very middle class. I'm not, like, the poorest poor.
No, it's not like we're struggling.
But I think the difference between, like, people who would classify themselves as working class and those that would maybe classify themselves as middle class is not a massive difference. Maybe that's my perspective, though, being middle class.
Yeah.
I don't think, they're not so poor.
Yeah.
And I think other people above me are miles away and so rich. But maybe they think, middle class aren't that poor. But I guess it is a wide range of stuff as well. Do you know what I mean? You're not set in bands. It's a spectrum.
I think the other thing is your perception never would change unless you get super rich.
Yeah,
your perception doesn't change that much because you just buy what's within your means.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Gosh.
Anyway, that was a
Speaking
tangent.
of which, do you want to send us money on Patreon and then we become super rich?
I had a dream that I checked our Patreon page.
Yeah.
I don't know what this says about me, but it sounds so sad looking at it now.
Go on.
We got some money from our Patreon when I checked, but we only got like £8.
Okay.
In my dream, all I dreamt up was £8 being given to us on Patreon. Not 800, not 8 grand, £8.
Well, you got to start somewhere. Got to start somewhere.
So if you can make my dream come true,
you need to start talking to that
pledge
guy.
£8 on.
That's he's like, we'll buy you a drink. Like, you buy me a drink if you listen to my podcast.
See, now I know this. I'm going to take his offer every time. And Just take, because I always like, I'm driving.
Just take it and just pour it out.
Yep. He was so persistent one week, though, that me and the drummer I play with doesn't drink anyway.
Okay.
But he kept asking so much that the bartender made us lemonades in fancy glasses to make him think that he'd bought us a drink.
Wow. It's been almost too nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, should we move on to news?
News, Bleat, let's go. What you got?
Right. So, I'm going to get political again, a little bit.
Oh, God.
Ish.
Right, let me just sit back.
Well, it's not. It is, but it isn't.
Right, is it or isn't it? Just tell me the story.
Okay. So, I don't know if you had the story of this guy called Jeffrey Epstein.
Very loosely, only because of recent events, and I don't actually know the full.
No, I'm not massively, but it's like conspiracy theories about it.
Right.
So basically, he was under arrest and was going to be charged for sexual offences against minors and conspiracy, and he was basically supposed to be the head.
Didn't this come across because there was a private flight that crashed, and there was files on board that were discovered that belonged to him or something?
Possibly.
Am I connecting two stories that aren't connected?
There might be. I don't know the full. I don't know why actually.
Okay, right,
He's been found, but he's been accused of this. But then, and he's connected to kind of like the higher echelons of people. He's got connections with Bill Clinton. He's got connections with Donald Trump. He's got connections with Prince. Is with an A? Alfred?
The butler?
No, Prince Albert. And he's got all these kind of connections.
Inappropriate piercing, Prince Albert.
Yes. Maybe I'm chatting shit. Let me find.
Wouldn't be anything new there.
Prince Andrew.
Prince Andrew. That sounds better.
Yes. And basically, he was found dead in his cell.
Yeah.
The Jeffrey Epstein. After basically having all these connections to the higher up people, and then there's conspiracy theories galore here that he didn't actually commit suicide, that he's been killed by the upper echelon
to
of
stop
people
them being discovered that they're in this
massive paedophile. Yeah. So even like Twitter's going mad for it, basically, and it's like people are saying in a weird twist of events. The conspiracy theory this time is that actually if you think he killed himself, in that like people are so prevalent that he was killed.
Yeah.
And even Donald Trump has gone out of his way to retweet a tweet that's basically saying, we think Bill Clinton, like the Clinton family, have had this person killed. Donald Trump has retweeted a conspiracy theory tweet. What? What is that? Why? You in a position of power pointing the fingers at other people shouldn't be doing that. Surely you shouldn't be doing that.
Many things he shouldn't be doing on Twitter.
And basically, do you think he's pointing the fingers, and he does this many times, where he points the fingers at other people for things that he has probably done himself? But what do you think? Do you think he's actually died, or do you believe the conspiracy theories?
I mean, the most likely thing is that the pressure got to him to a degree, because if he got convicted with everything, he'd have been away for life and everything, he could very, very likely have committed suicide.
Yeah.
That said, it did look like he was heavily linked with many powerful people.
Yes.
I suppose either way...
I know, yeah, it could. I think those people that, if you weren't involved in his death, you're like, whoo!
Yeah.
Thank God he can't testify and point the fingers at loads of people.
I suppose the thing, it'll be harder now he's dead to do this, but I hope that when the trial goes ahead to look into this more anyway, that they uncover as much as they can do.
Yeah, I know that it's a lot of people on both sides of the political spectrum are basically pointing fingers at the other side, saying, you have these connections with this person who's been accused and not yet charged, obviously can't be charged now, he said, of these paedophile ties. And basically it's like, no, like anybody that's involved in this should be arrested and put in jail, because having sex with children is morally and legally wrong.
Yep.
So it's just it's kicked off all over Twitter.
Yeah, I have seen this, like, it seems crazy that it seems to have become some sort of political debate. Because it's like this, politics shouldn't come into this at this point.
No.
You know what I mean?
No. It's like... Yeah.
Anyway, sorry
for the sad story there.
Sad story, But have you got any more news?
That was kind of it.
Okay, well, I'm going to just either half stay in Newsbleat or go to Will I Recommend.
Okay, cool.
Have you seen that Coke have brought out some new flavours?
No.
They're very weird flavours.
Cinnamon?
Well, I bought one yesterday and I tried it. I don't know whether it's meant to be like cask aged. It was like wood flavoured Coke.
Oh.
So they had a wood one. They had one that was just said like medicinal, which I didn't get. But they basically had all these like weird flavours that are meant for mixing with like a whiskey or a gin and I thought that's quite cool.
Yeah. I guess I've not thought about flavouring the Coke rather than the whiskey or the gin.
It was good. I wouldn't drink it on its own, but with whiskey it was very nice.
Yeah, I can imagine it adding to it like the woodiness flavour. Have you still got it?
I've got the bottle to show you.
Oh.
I drank it all though.
God damn it.
If you want the Sainsbury's on the way back into town, you can get them from there.
And I'll come back next week and say
other stores are available.
We're not the BBC. We can pick a store that we recommend, and it's Tesco because that's where I work.
Oh, okay. You were planning on hiding that for so long.
Yeah, I was.
You were like, let's just keep it ambiguous. I'm not going to say where I work. Yeah, and then I think on the job episode, we were like, yeah, so I work in Tesco.
Yeah. Well, because I didn't want people that might listen to this that I might work with or whatever, or someone just finds it randomly and it's like, oh, is that person that I work with? I'm not sure. Maybe keep it ambiguous, but it's like, oh, it's James that works at Tesco. It's a baker. It's like, basically, you can pin me down pretty easily.
Narrowed it down quite a lot.
Because I think at the past I might have wanted to shit on my store, but I have done not as much as that as maybe I thought.
I don't think you've ever really shit on it.
That's made it to the episode.
That's true. No. Anyway, the thing that is definitely a recommendation, there's a book that you recommended me.
Oh, yes.
Called We Are Legion, We Are Bob.
Yes.
It's really good.
It is. You're only partway through it.
I'm only partway through it. I'm probably halfway.
Possibly. The problem is, I listened to... There's 3 books in this series.
Oh, is there?
Yes.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yes.
I was already getting disappointed that this might end soon.
No. So, but basically, because I listened to them basically back after back. Back after back?
Back to back?
Back to
Is
back.
that the word you're looking for?
No, back after back. I looked at their back. Back to back. Because I just really enjoyed them. Yeah. It's very heavy sci-fi.
I was going to say, my recommendation, because the last thing that I spoke about was War of the Worlds, which I said that I have read better sci-fi.
Yes.
I think since that book was written. As good as it may be and as much as it may have spawned. But if you're into sci-fi, this is great. Mm-hmm. I'm going to try and recommend this to my family book club.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they're going to enjoy it, but I think it's great.
I think it's great, and it's kind of like there's a lot of humor in it as well.
Yeah, it's funny.
And it's
nerdy funny.
It is nerdy funny for sure.
I'd say if you're the type of person that likes Star Trek,
yep,
you're guaranteed to like this.
Yeah, I think also a little bit. I don't know why, but it makes me think of Ready Player One.
I've not read that or watched it.
Okay, so that has like humor within it that's kind of nerdy culture as well. So it's a bit like that.
It's more actual nerdy humor than pop culture nerdy humor like Big Bang, I'd say.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
It does.
I'm not going to go into story because I've not finished it yet, but I just wanted to give a quick mention because I think it is genuinely one of the things I've enjoyed the most that I've read recently.
Good. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
Good.
Good recommendation.
Thank you.
Right, should we do fake news or not?
Yes. Let's do fake news or not.
Let's do it. Right, fake news or not, the section where you give me a headline that's potentially fake or potentially real. And because I've won for 2 weeks, I have one question? Or do I get two questions?
Just one, I think.
Just one. Sucks to be me.
It does. Blind woman told to get off bus because guide dogs can't be black. If you want to ask what colour the dog was, it was black.
Well, I know what my question's going to be because I always ask this one and it always sways me one way or the other. Where did this happen?
This happened in the UK.
Oh, not what I expected. Right, seeing as that's my one question burnt through, can I have the headline once more, please?
Blind woman told to get off bus because guide dogs can't be black.
See, this sounds so shitty that it's got to be true.
So your final answer is this is a classic. You'll be like, it's this way, so it has to be true. So I'm saying it's false. Like you reason your way through it, and then you're like,
oh yeah,
I disregard what I'm actually saying.
No, I think this sounds, with that rationale, I think that this sounds ridiculous and fake. So I think that this is true.
Okay,
it's so shitty that it could happen.
This is true. Fuck, man. Do you want me to read the line underneath? A blind woman was told to get her fucking dog off a bus by a passenger who didn't believe guide dogs could be any other colour than yellow.
See, that was the thing that made me think that this was true, is because it didn't specify it was a person in power. Like, it wasn't someone who could actually enforce it, like police or the bus driver.
Yeah.
It could just be a dickhead on a bus, which is true. Exactly what it was.
True.
God.
I think this was in Merseyside, you know.
No. In our hometown.
Yeah, I guess our hometown? Is this our hometown now? Yeah, she spoke to the Liverpool Echo saying, I don't think I've ever had a stress-free trip on a public transport. That's why I'm nervous using it now.
What a shame.
Like bullying a blind person. Like, you have to be really low to be doing that.
Yeah.
What a dickhead.
What a dickhead. Dickhead on a bus.
Dickhead on a bus.
However, that's 3 weeks in a row for me now.
Fuck off, Ben. We need to scrap this game.
We've already said we're going to complete the full year before we
because
review
I don't think there's even time for me to
section.
win back. If I win every single one from now, I still don't think I can beat you.
Okay, right. Well, maybe I'll add up the scores again now, and we'll put in a little bonus scheme for you so you can win.
No, because that's just shitty. It's like, you'd hate that, wouldn't you? It's like Mario Kart when you're the last person, you get like a bullet bill and you win.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't even feel gratified if I won there. It's like, oh, if you win, James, you get 2 points.
Yes, it's a hollow victory.
It is, isn't it?
So
well done, Ben. I'm proud of you.
Please remember, this is your game, your creation, and we've modified the rules as many times as you want.
That's bullshit, that.
Down to you.
No, I don't think so. No.
We literally have recorded evidence.
Well,
right. Should we move on to the main?
No,
topic?
let's just. I'm going to go.
Done?
Yeah, I'm done. Home. I'm just going to play with your puppy instead. That's the only reason I came.
No, she's sleeping. Right, I'm moving on.
Move on.
No, it's not going to be that theme tune.
Oh, is it just...
Because this can be a themed theme tune because of the main topic we're doing.
Okay. I didn't... Is there music for the... Oh, so what are we talking about?
Hang on. Okay, I'll come back to this point, seeing as we've not introduced it yet. What are we talking about?
We decided that there is pop culture films that we haven't seen, or either one of us hasn't seen, and we've decided to go back and watch some of them as maybe as an ongoing series.
I think we can maybe make this a monthly thing.
Yeah. So we've decided to watch The Godfather because neither of us had watched it.
Yeah, because you originally posed this as thinking that I'd have seen the films and you wouldn't. And
yes.
You were like, we'll start with The Godfather. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I've not seen that either.
Huh?
It's been on my list for the past 10 years.
I know, but then it's always it's 3 hours long.
Yeah.
So I've always been like, I'll watch some else.
I did think that. Should we say initial opinions off the bat? Because I thought I wasn't dreading it, but for that reason, I know it's an older film and it's near enough 3 hours, and I thought, I'm going to get bored. Mm-hmm. Like, I was fully ready to have my phone out and to do something at the same time. I'm glad to say I didn't need to do that because I thought this film was amazing. It was,
yes. It's obviously, there's a reason why everybody recommends it. It's an excellent, excellent film. I'd give it 4.5 at least bars.
I think I'd go for a 5.
Yeah,
a 5 for this.
It's great.
I think it's fully deserving, and I understand now why. Whenever you see a poll of like the top 50 films ever, this is always in at least the top 10.
It is.
For good reason.
For definitely good
reasons. For one of the reasons, let me just come back around to what we were arguing about when we entered the main topic.
Right.
This has one of the best theme tunes, I think, of anything.
It's not stuck with me. It's not stuck with me. I can't picture it. I can't listen to it in my head right now.
Because it cropped up, I think, in the opening scene, but it reoccurs throughout the film heavily.
Right.
Like, it's not a one and done thing.
Play it to me right now, just because I just can't picture it.
Well, it'll be in the listeners' minds because it will have just...
We've just played it.
Played via
And you'd be like, James, you're an idiot. How can you not know it? You've just listened to it. But no, that's not how podcasts work.
I was going to hum it to you, but then I thought, we have the facility to actually play it.
Right, yeah. Because this is like a lone trumpet.
Yeah, they did do it in all sorts of ways, though. Because I genuinely considered going out and buying a mandolin to record this. I've been wanting to get one for ages, and it'd fit so well.
What's a mandolin?
It's picture like a ukulele-looking thing,
right?
But it's got like doubled up strings.
Oh, okay.
You hear it a lot in like folk Americana and.
Okay, I thought a mandolin was one of those things that's like slices vegetables really thin.
I don't know what that is. I think mandolin instrument spelt without the E.
Okay.
Is that a mandolin? That one?
I would call it a mandolin as well.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, either way, yes, incredible theme tune.
It is, but it felt background to the action on the film, if that makes sense. Whereas like something like James Bond is like, here's a theme tune in your face, you're gonna feel this theme tune. Yeah. Whereas that was like just kind of like
classy.
Yeah.
Which I think matches the whole film. There was like classy and subtleness, and all of it was just... Should we first, before we go into all of the artsy fartsy shit, should we just try and summarize the story? What do you think the story... What was The Godfather to you? Have we actually said that we're going to talk about The Godfather through any of this?
Yes. Did
we say at the beginning?
We did.
Okay, cool.
I would say the story is about the Corleone family.
Corleone, isn't it?
Corleone family. With you initially focus on the Don, the Godfather himself, and him basically turning down a drug trafficking distribution operation, getting shot, nearly dying, and then his sons kind of taking over. One of them dies, and then the other son becomes the new Godfather, the new Don.
It's basically like a handing over of family to from his demise and his son's reluctance at the beginning because he wanted to be clean, not involved with the family business, and then he gradually got pulled in.
I think Michael is the one that takes over. I think his arc throughout this film is beautifully done.
It's great.
That you see the development change. I don't know if you notice, like in the beginning scenes, his hair's like quite brown, quite light, and he himself wears light clothing.
See, this it's gonna sound pretentious the whole way through, but like the use of lighting, like he's always brightly lit at the beginning. It's all fresh and kind of like airy, and towards the end, like his face is just like shrouded in shadow from like every shot, like. But as well, like props to the actors as well. Like performances in this are incredible.
They are.
I saw actually while I was reading some stuff. Marlon Brando, who plays Don Vito Corleone, and Al Pacino that plays Michael. Mm-hmm. Both of them were nominated for Oscar for their performance.
Okay.
So Marlon Brando won the Oscar, but he declined to receive the award because he was protesting how Native Americans were being
is this the one where
the
Native American came and claimed she did her speech, didn't you? I've seen this, yes.
And not only that, Al Pacino was nominated, but he boycotted it because he said that he should have been, instead of nominated for Best Supporting Actor, he should have been Lead Actor because of his screen time in the film compared to
I would say he is the lead in that film because it follows his story more closely than
I think there's a case for both of them in this. They're like co-leads really.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was interesting that they both boycotted it. One for a good reason, the other one maybe less so.
You mean morally good?
Yeah,
morally good reasons.
Yeah, good reasons, but morally very toys out the pram for I should have been the lead.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So the things I've seen about this in the past is that Marlon Brando, like his the Don in this has like a weird mouth shape, and that it was like his idea to do this, wasn't he? Like he put like prosthetics within his mouth to create this kind of lower hanging jaw, and like the down it brings his mouth.
Prosthetics were really convincing because I think he was nowhere near as old as he looked in this.
No,
especially by the end because this happens over a very wide span, which I didn't realize.
No, I didn't.
It must have been like a decade or so by the whole film.
Yes. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit less. Maybe like 7 or 8 years.
You notice it in his hair, like very black hair.
Yeah.
And then like when you see him later on, just fully grey. He's aged even more in the face.
And
like,
it's wispy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the voice. His voice was so... It's one of those iconic things that even if you've not seen it, you kind of knew parts of it. Like the horse's head in the bed.
Well, I didn't know the full context of that. So I knew that there was a horse's head, and there was like, this is a threat, basically. But the scene previous to that, spoilers for anyone that's not watched the film. Spoilers, previous to that, he's been shown by this multimillionaire that owns a film company, and the Don is trying to get his godson into this film. So he sends his what do they call it? It's basically like his aide.
Yeah.
The Don's aide.
Yeah, the lawyer.
The lawyer dude. To convince him. The guy's like, absolutely no, he slept with a girl that I wanted to sleep with, or I want to sleep with.
But he made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
Yeah. He was showing him this horse, and he was like, I spent $600,000 on this horse, a prize horse. I'm not gonna race him, I'm gonna stud him out. No. And then the next scene we see is this horse decapitated in the bed. It's like, we could have killed you if we wanted to. We've killed your horse, and you are going to give this part to the person we want you to.
To, what was he called? Tommy Fontaine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, the Godfather's godson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing scene.
Right. Is there anything that you didn't like about this film? Because we spoke very highly of it so far.
Yeah.
Which I think is the first time this has happened that we've just been unequivocally, yes, in agreement. Great film.
The one thing that I struggled with, and I don't know whether this is because I watched a version that I might have not supposed to, is that all of the Italian was unsubtitled.
Right. You asked me this before we started, and I said, let's talk about it.
Yes.
Apparently, because I did exactly the same as you, there is no subtitles for this.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, you just have to look for cues from the actors, as is. They just wanted it to be authentic experience, which I think it really was. Mm-hmm. Everyone was meant to be Italian American, and some of it was in American, some of it in Italian. But there was very key parts of the film, I'd say, that were in Italian.
For sure.
If you didn't understand it, a lot was left to the imagination, basically.
Kind of like, well, what was said here?
The main scene, I really liked how this played out, and it was the most tense thing. I don't know if you thought it. The scene where he is going to murder
Michael.
The police. Yeah, Michael was going to murder the policeman and the drug boss.
Yeah.
I had no idea what they were saying. And I especially liked that they marked it with him turning to the American police officer and said, I'm going to talk in Italian now.
Yeah.
And then proceeded to. But the tension, even though you had no idea what they were saying, was like, I was literally like, you knew what was coming because they'd already spoken about the plan. But like, but then after that, he goes into hiding in Italy. Yes. This is the only section of the film where I wouldn't say I don't like it, because it was filmed beautifully. Like, you got a real sense of like the heat of being in, like, everything was great.
Yes.
I just had no idea what was going on, because he got married after about 2 minutes to someone that I had no idea who that was. Did you know? Am I being dense?
So what I did, because I was like, is this supposed to be subtitles? I went and found a transcript for the film.
Right.
And it was transcribed in from, they said it in Italian, and this is what was said in English. So I looked at what they were actually saying as it was being said, because I was like, I want to know what's going on here. Like, I didn't know whether there was or wasn't supposed to be subtitles.
All right, you did what I should have done, because I had no idea.
So yeah, in that scene where he's hiding in Italy, he meets this beautiful girl, and then he goes and talks to this like shop owner and they're talking about, oh, he met this beautiful woman, she looked like this, she was wearing this, and he was like, he goes bah, he gets real mad, and then one of them goes and he goes, oh, we need to go, it was his daughter. And like, so I think that joke is kind of like lost on you if you don't speak Italian.
Yeah, like I understood what had happened.
Yeah,
but
you kind of understand afterwards when Michael starts speaking in English and asks him to translate, saying, "Oh, I'd like to meet your daughter. I'd like to do this."
Yeah.
He's like, she'd lose a father rather than gaining a husband.
Yeah,
that's like a powerful line, isn't it? I will kill you if you don't let me marry your daughter.
Yeah. I'd say that was his turning point of becoming evil, because I know that he murdered those two people previously, but it was kind of like for good intentions, because his father was going to get killed by them otherwise, so it was out of defense. But from that point onwards, that was him using his power for his gain. Yeah,
I think that was him being a little bit smooth about it, and I don't think it was truly serious, saying, I'm going to kill you if you don't let me marry your daughter.
Yeah, but I mean, the way he delivered it, if you said that to someone, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's not
because he prefaced it with, "This is my name. A lot of people would pay a lot of money for that and want me killed. But if you did that, she would lose you, rather than," and basically saying then, is like a twist, I want to get with your daughter.
But right, because I thought the only reason, because he'd been seeing a long-term girlfriend back in America, who he seemed to genuinely love, and vice versa. And then I thought that it must have been for some like family power type thing that he married this girl in Italy after 30 seconds, but it was
no. I think that was just pure love. I think
he was just like, yep, you're hot.
Yeah, basically. I think they kind of had that like summer romance kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it all turned around because one of the people that's supposed to be protecting
Fabrizio,
he gave him up, basically.
Yep.
Someone planted a bomb in the car that was taking him back home.
Yep.
And it ended up killing his wife.
But not him. He wasn't in it when it blew up.
No. But I think that was probably something that tipped him over the edge.
Yeah.
I think he was ready to be, maybe like live his life as a good standing person. Yeah, he kind of was like, oh, you might end up dead if you give away my secret, but I'd like to marry your daughter.
Yeah.
But then I think his wife ending up dying was the major turning.
Path.
Yes, for sure.
Have you heard about the orange conspiracy in this film?
No.
Anytime shit's about to go down, there are oranges on screen.
Oh, okay.
So as Don Vito goes into the market, he buys oranges, and then he's shot 5 times.
Yes.
When they've got the family, the 5 heads of the family meeting, there's oranges on the table before all the shit goes down. Basically, anytime that death happens, there's oranges there.
Oh, okay.
When Don Vito actually dies, when he's got orange in his mouth to scare the little boy, when he's like playing with him, it crops up constantly. And apparently when I think it was a director or someone on the film was asked about it, they were like, no, we just wanted a pop of colour on screen, so we put oranges there. They were like, there's literally no symbolism there.
Yeah. I mean, what is the symbolism of orange? It's not like, if it was like a blood orange, I could understand like it'd have that symbolism there. Or something tomato, like a red tomato or something to signify blood.
Yeah.
But no.
How
do you think you would have coped? Do you think you could have been a gangster in that time? Because it kind of romanticizes it, makes it look very cool. I know there's lots of death and destruction, and within the film, there's women take a lot of beatings. Like they've definitely marginalized and said, you're it's shown as being a lesser than the men in
100% product of its time, patriarchal society film. Yes. Like women are not treated well.
But I think because this is filmed much later on than when the acts might have happened, but it's showing that family at a time like that, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's exactly how it would have been.
Yeah.
When you were saying with the romanticized kind of gangster lifestyle, apparently this directly influenced mafia culture. Like genuine mafia families behaved more like in this film.
Oh, okay.
After it was made.
Wow.
Which I was like, that's crazy that you don't have that much influence from. Yeah. Apparently they like the kind of like elegant way of speaking, like the philosophical kind of thing. Apparently that was like adopted in mafia culture, which I thought that's
interesting.
I mean, kind of cool. I know it's mafia culture, so it's bad, but like to have that much impact, I wouldn't have dealt well with this.
You don't think?
I don't think. You know me.
You're like literally living on the edge of your seat the whole time. If you mess up at all, dead.
Yeah, dead.
Like that one guy that was supposed to be bodyguarding the Don.
Yeah.
And either was sick or was like paid to be sick or whatever, and then he gets shot, and then the other guy, like, because you weren't there, you died.
Yep, done. I mean, it literally sets it up from the opening of the film with the iconic, very quotable, you come here on the day of my daughter's wedding and disrespect me, basically.
Yeah.
He's like, although that guy doesn't get killed, but he like brings him round, and it just sets up this whole thing of, you respect me or you're dead.
Yeah. Like, you don't even call me the Godfather?
Yeah.
And he's like, then he ends up like groveling. He's like, please be my friend. He's like, we're not. You like, you want to be my friend, but you're not my friend.
Yeah.
You come here asking me this to be a murderer.
Yeah. What an opening to a film as well.
It is great.
Yeah. I loved. Assume if this was a couple of decades ago, it would have been all the A-listers that we'd have known. I think the cast was a very like A-listy thing, wasn't it? Right. A lot of olive-skinned people.
Oh yeah, I think you would have fit in the film.
I'd have fit in
for sure. And
I wouldn't have fit the gangster lifestyle, but I'd have fit in visually at least. What was I going to say? Adrian was in this.
Adrian. Oh yeah. Oh, she
literally played the same character. She just screamed and cried a lot.
Yes. So she's the sister of Michael, isn't she? She's the daughter of the Don.
Yeah. This reminded me, you know the scene in Rocky where they've got the turkey and it's Paulie that's just running about smashing things.
Yeah.
It reminded me so much of this. There's a scene where she's arguing with her husband.
Yeah.
Smashing things and just... it was driving the dog crazy.
Really?
This film, because there was so many sounds. Like, she was just like smashing shit left, right, and center and screaming. I found her so irritating in this film.
Yeah.
It was just
I think
so much.
That scene felt really weak.
Yeah.
Where it didn't feel believable that she'd actually flown off the handle.
No.
But that's a scene that sets up the death of...
Is it Carlo?
Sonny?
Carlo? Oh, sorry, I thought you meant even later on, because the husband then does get killed by Michael at the end, doesn't he?
Yes, because you understand that,
he sold them out at the end.
Yeah, but he was the one that caused Michael's brother's death, Sonny.
Yeah,
because he was on his way to go and beat up Carlos and got trapped on the tunnel or something.
Yeah, it was like a toll between the borders somewhere, was it?
Yeah,
it's
probably between New York and New Jersey, I imagine.
Yeah.
And he gets pinned in and gets shot to death with lots of submachine guns. Yes.
He didn't have a chance, did he?
He did not have
a chance. I think that was my only thing. A couple of the deaths in this were a bit cheesy fake. Like in like a school play kind of way. You know when you get like shot 10 times and you're still standing up kind of like juddering in the air and then slowly like crumple to the floor.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think that people do jitter when they get shot, but not maybe that many times. They don't get kept stood up by it like they're on strings.
Actually, that was another bit. There was a really bad fight scene the first time when Carlo beats up the sister, and then Sonny goes to beat him up in the street. That fight was very weak. You could see a lot of air punches connecting.
It feels very Rocky 1 style. You know?
Yeah, it was in a similar era to Rocky, wasn't it? This, I mean, literally Adrian's character. I can't remember her name, but she was literally like looked exactly the same. So there was very Rocky-esque. It was the pacing, I think, of films in that time. It had that kind of like slow, lots of moments to breathe type thing, which worked really well for this film. I don't think I'd change anything about that.
No, I think almost every scene was at least setting up something for later on as well.
Yeah.
Like some parts I was like, well, what is this? This is just feels like filler almost.
Yeah.
But it always kind of came back to it in the end.
Yeah. That's why this was so good.
Yeah.
Like everything was driving forward either character or story development.
For sure.
There was something, every scene gave you something.
For sure.
That's what, I don't know, it's like why I'm going to take the film that I ranted about a little while ago, Venom.
Right.
I know it's a completely different type of film.
Yeah.
But that film was literally everything was filler with no meaning whatsoever.
Really?
And this was just the total opposite. That even when nothing was happening, it was doing something.
Yes.
And I think every film should be driving the story forward. I mean, that's the whole reason that you're watching something for the story, isn't it?
For sure.
Yeah.
Because even the first scene where it's just setting who the Don is really and his characteristic and his mannerisms and how he holds himself and how the respect he demands from people from this funeral director.
Yep.
You think, oh, that's just setting the scene for who he is, but it calls it back later on.
Yeah.
Like we get that funeral director back in after Sonny dies, and he kind of calls this favor back upon him that he says, "You don't have to pay me, but you will owe me a debt." He calls that debt in, and it's quite interesting to see. Like that could have been, like they didn't have to do that. Do you know what I mean? But that's like real thoughtfulness to see that this opening scene is going to link with a part of a film that's much later on.
All happens for a reason.
Yeah,
and I think you can be far more forgiving. For example, I'm going to just directly compare two things now, but like Venom, incredible visuals,
right?
And obviously it's a much more modern film, but I can't forgive that film, even though it looks great in some places, because so much of it's just meaningless, nothing.
Right.
Whereas this one, fight scene was kind of crap, but you can forgive it because the story's great, and I don't think you can't do it vice versa.
Yeah, true. I think, the fight scene, even though it was bad, it showed us who Sonny was. Yeah. That temper that he has, that he couldn't control.
No business decision there. It was just like seeing red.
Yeah. I think it was very interesting seeing like the family dynamics where it's like you have to respect this person, but then you don't, and kind of like this is all business. Oh, my father nearly died, but it's just business.
Yeah,
everything's just business, or it's not. It's personal. Do you know what I mean? It's really. Yeah, it's really, really interesting.
Yeah. How much of this do you think happens now?
In films or in real life?
In real life. Mafia, like families and people in power handling things like they did in this film. Not to the extent, obviously, but I mean, how much do you think is real?
I think gangsters like that and the mob and the mafia has changed dramatically. I think it's more now like gang culture.
Yeah.
And maybe they don't have as much influence over the police and the politicians. Like they're less corrupt, but I don't actually know.
Yeah.
It's just that my feeling is that their more gang culture is trying to hide and get away from the police rather than buying the police off. Yeah. But I don't actually know. What do you think?
Because all I was thinking in terms of that was, has it morphed into a modern like gangster culture of people in power just doing it with money and quietly, so there's less killing maybe, but it's like all in boardrooms and power over people still, is what I mean. Do you think it's
maybe
morphed? Yeah,
it's probably more legitimate power, but still there's probably families with lots of power. I mean, yeah, probably.
I meant to Google this actually. My girlfriend basically just walked in at the end of the scene where the 5 families were meeting, and she was like, "Oh, you know that there's still those 5 families in existence in New York now." Right. I was like, really?
Interesting. I bet they're not in this.
Not doing that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, is this based on a true story? I don't actually know.
Don't know.
No.
We should have researched that, really.
Because I've been like listening to podcasts about this kind of stuff. So in Crime Town is a very good podcast where I think the first season they do a lot of understanding the mafia and the gang culture and that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's really quite interesting. So I'd recommend that as something as like further listening.
Okay.
To kind of understand more of what's going on.
Yeah.
It's quite good. That is true stories.
True stories.
Yeah. And because it talks about like in this film that basically politicians and police officers might turn a blind eye to gambling and other stuff like that, but like drugs was like hitting the communities hard.
Yeah, I found that interesting how all of these people doing corrupt shit, murdering people to just get one up on people, but they were like, oh no, we draw the line at drugs. Yeah. Like in Don Vito's mind, he was like, gambling, yep, that's fine. Prostitution, yep, that's fine. Drugs, no.
Yeah.
He was like, that's where I draw my line.
Well, maybe he preempted the war on drugs that was coming to the US, I think you've got to draw a line somewhere to know what your ability to push is.
Yeah.
And I think, he's probably right to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But, it nearly cost him his life and it cost him the whole business, basically.
Yeah. I thought the other good thing that this film did, it was very Breaking Bad-esque in the way that you were rooting for a villain.
Yes.
Like, I know you could watch that and be morally against everything they were doing, but at the core of it, you were still kind of rooting for their family to do well by the end of it, in a way.
Yeah.
Because it was like them against other evil people.
For sure.
Where in the same way, Breaking Bad, have you watched Breaking Bad?
I've watched bits of it. I've watched it passively. Really by I've been on a laptop and then someone's watching in the background. I kind of know most of the story.
But I mean, I think that Breaking Bad is the best instance of that, where you're fully rooting for someone who's doing awful things, but you still want him to succeed.
Yeah, he's doing it. He's doing that in Breaking Bad for a reason, because he's got cancer.
It changes though.
Yes, I know. It changes, but that's his original.
Yeah.
Reason for going into drugs, isn't it?
But you could say the same for Michael, that his original intentions were just to defend his father, but then by the end he was my favourite thing was that closing scene. When because he ends up coming back and makes things right with his girlfriend and ends up marrying her.
Yeah.
And that final shot where she asks him outright, she's like, did you murder this person?
Yeah, did you kill your sister's husband?
Yeah, who he's godfather to their child.
Yeah.
And he says, I'll give you this one chance to ask me a question.
Well, first he's like, don't ask me about business.
Yeah. And then he's like, one question. She asks it, and he's like, no, I didn't.
And
she's like,
fucking
liar. Thank God.
Yeah.
And then there's that moment where she's like, oh, we should both get a drink, shouldn't we? Mm-hmm. And she walks out, and then you just see like the shot where she's like, she doesn't believe him, but she just wants to believe him.
Yeah.
And then he goes about his business in the room and doesn't follow her, and then the door just shuts and the film finishes.
Well, someone comes over and they're like kissing his hand, and it's like basically it's showing the audience like, oh, he's the new king, he's the new Don, he's the new Godfather. Where they're coming in, they're like kissing his hand, and then someone just like slowly closes the door, and like it's a very good metaphor of like him closing off his wife and his family and stuff like that. Yeah.
See, everything happens for a reason in this film. Just good everything, really.
I think this was like beautifully shot as well. Like the cinematography felt really good.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. It was very beautiful.
On the cinematography, my only thing I was thinking, everything was very grounded from people's view. There was I think there was only one instance I could think of where there was like a crane shot like up above. Everything was all like eye level, close to the ground.
You felt like you were in it. You felt like you were a bystander or part of the family that just didn't talk. You were just a silent observer.
That's like whenever you were setting up, even if it was when they went to Italy and you saw like the landscape or to a new house, there was no like wide shots of it was all like you looking up at the house or you walking across that landscape.
Do you think that was a decision made by the director, or is that a product of its time in that they're not easy to do that kind of thing?
No, I think that was. There's still plenty of like wide shots and moving things that you could have got. It wasn't like the technology wasn't there.
Yeah.
I think it was just all, this is very ground level. Mm-hmm. Very good.
Very good. Very
5
good.
out of 5 bars.
For sure. Yeah. We were probably going to watch the second one.
Yes. If we had more time, we'd have done it already.
I think people say that The Godfather 2 is better than 1, right?
I hear that.
That's what I've heard. The Godfather 2 is the best one. So I look forward to watching that.
No, you can only hear the audio. I'll watch it. You listen, and then we've got to piece it together.
Yeah, and you listen with no music. I like the idea of that.
But yeah, I think we should make this a monthly segment of classic films that we haven't watched that we should have watched.
Yes, for sure.
We need to encounter some that one of us has watched as well.
Yes.
So we can talk about them like that.
If you've got any recommendations for films that we might not have watched that are a classics,
or just a personal classic. It doesn't have to be like a critically acclaimed one.
No, it does.
It does.
No, because then every time we watch it, it's like, oh, this is a great film.
Well, yeah.
It's something that
Isn't that the outcome that's just going to happen with all these classic films? No, we'll come across some.
Yeah, because there might be some that we don't like. You don't have to like every critically acclaimed film.
But what I mean is, there's a reason that this is critically acclaimed.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's fucking great. Anyway, is that it? Have you got any more points on...
I feel like it's much easier to complain about things than it is to graciously gush about them. We managed
to talk a good while about good stuff.
So, no, I've got nothing more I really want to say. We
could complain about crime. Crime's bad.
Is it, though?
Is it, though? That's a tight 1 hour there.
Right, that's it. Bye.
Right, if you've enjoyed this episode, give us a like on your podcast app of choice, or stars, or likes. I don't know how they all work.
Technology, how does this work? I don't understand.
You can find us in all the usual places. twosheepinthepool.com. That'll take you to all of our social media. You can email in at bar@twosheepinthepool.com. BAA, like a sheep. And if you fancy donating any money to our Patreon and make my £8 dream come true, you can do that at patreon.com/twosheepinthepool. That's it from me.
And that's it from me. Thank you for listening.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.